As a reviewer, it's my job to be critical and nitpicky of Chromebooks. With the ASUS Chromebook Flip C434 that I've been reviewing for the past week, however, I've been having a hard time finding those nitpicks. It's a great device, and it does a lot of things really, really well. Is it perfect? Not quite. Let's talk about it. But before we get into this review, this video is brought to you by Forma Supply Company, and if you're anything like me, shopping is not up there on your list of things you enjoy doing. Luckily, there is Forma Supply Company, and they will drop a new supply of t-shirts on your front porch, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. You choose the frequency. You just give them a little bit about your style preferences, and they'll hook you up. All you got to do to get started is go to chromeunbox.com/Forma to get 25% off your first supply today. So let's get started talking about what makes this such a great Chromebook. We'll start with build quality like we always do. And ASUS has done a fantastic job here. You got these nice chamfered edges all around the outside of the body and around the trackpad. You've got these nice chromed out hinges, but more than anything else, you've got this aluminum that feels nice and sturdy. It does not pick up fingerprints basically at all. I literally just wiped it off for the first time on the outer part of it before we did this review and didn't really have to clean it up too much, but it just looks great on a desk. It feels great in your hand because of the narrow bezels. The entire body has been brought down from what a normal 14-inch device would look like down to more closely resembling a 13-inch Chromebook. It's light at just 3 pounds and only 15, 16 millimeters in thickness. I mean, it just is super portable. It's super well put together. It just feels premium on every front, and ASUS absolutely killed it with the build quality here. So let's talk about that screen. The screen itself isn't that amazing. It's a great screen. It's about 300 nits of brightness. It's got nice punchy colors, great wide viewing angles, 14 inches diagonal, 16 by 9. So it's not doing anything out of the ordinary. It's full HD, so 1920 by 1080. Those things are pretty stock and, you know, kind of becoming normalized across Chrome OS in the last, 6 months or so. We've seen a lot of devices with really good 14-inch full HD displays. It's not really the display panel itself that really is doing a lot of justice for this device. It's the small bezels they put around it. And because of those tiny little bezels, when you open this thing up on the desk, there's just something that draws your eyes to it. And I know bezels don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's not like it makes it more productive or anything. It just makes it nicer to look at. And because of those small bezels, just like I said in the build section before this, it's smaller. It literally is physically a smaller device than most 14-inch devices, and so it just feels great. It looks great, and normally I wouldn't talk about bezels being that big of a deal on a device, but they changed the way that you perceive this one. And so the entire thing feels smaller and lighter because of it, and it's more attractive. It makes you just want to use it more. Moving down from that screen and getting into the keyboard and trackpad bits, this is probably one of the only areas I really have anything bad to say about this device, and it's not even that bad. It's just kind of mediocre. The keyboard feels great. There's plenty of travel on the keys. They're backlit and they're kind of silvery gray in color. Now, I've had some questions asking if they're aluminum. They are not aluminum keys. They're plastic. But the overall feel of them, the travel is really good. I wish for a little bit more click in it, but overall, after using it for about a day, I got really used to it and was able to type really fast on this, and it was comfortable, and I enjoyed the typing experience in general. The trackpad is mediocre at best. It picks up oils a little bit, and it just doesn't feel as substantial as the rest of the device. I really feel like they should have put a nice glass trackpad to go with the aesthetic of the rest of this device. They did not do that. It is plastic, but it's serviceable. It's good. The click mechanism feels good. It just kind of feels a little thin and just not quite up to par with the rest of this device. On around the side of this device, the port selection is becoming pretty common here. We got a USB Type-C on both sides, and those can be used for charging. They can be used for audio and video output, whatever you want to use your USB-C for, if you want to dock, all that kind of stuff. But it also has a USB Type-A and a headphone microphone jack on the left side, which came in really, really handy for us. We were trying to record some audio. We had a MacBook, we had a Pixel Slate, and we were running into issues with dongles and all this kind of stuff. And we brought the C434 in, removed all the dongles, plugged everything directly into what needed to be plugged into, and everything just worked the way it was supposed to. So it was a really practical example of why a standard USB Type A and a headphone microphone jack still have a place, even in devices that are thin and light. Additionally, on the right-hand side of the device, we get an SD card slot, and in some of the higher end models like the Pixelbook and Pixel Slate, you don't get that either. And so it's nice to have that along with all these other ports to expand your storage if you'd like to. It comes with 64 gigs of internal storage, but a lot of people want to store movies and all that kind of stuff locally. This gives you the option to do that. And underneath, you get some pretty good speakers here. ASUS actually talked about these speakers on the website, on the landing page for this particular Chromebook, and rightly so. They sound really, really good. They're not quite as good as what the Pixel Slate does, but it kind of set the bar really high for thin and light devices having great speakers. But this comes in at a close second, and I really, really enjoyed watching a few shows and lots of YouTube videos and stuff on this device because those speakers are really, really nice to listen to. Finally, let's talk about internals, because all the outer pieces can be great, and if the internals are slow or laggy, it can ruin the entire experience. It doesn't matter how good your screen or aluminum are. Thankfully, that's just not the case with the C434. While the internals aren't perfect, they're very, very good. So let's start with the Core M3 that is the processor here, 8th gen, 30,000 on Octane. The thing just gets along really, really well. For reference, the Core i5 Pixelbook that I have and that I work from all the time gets about 27,000 on Octane. So if you're looking at synthetic benchmarks, it gets along really well. But I can just tell you from day-to-day use, hooking it up to my external monitor and writing articles and doing all sorts of stuff on this device, no issues whatsoever with performance. RAM, however, could be a little bit of an issue, and we'll come right back to that. It's paired up with 64 gigs of internal storage. That, again, can be expanded via the SD card slot, so that's really not that big of a deal either. I'd love to see 128 gig for what it's worth. But the RAM could be a sticking point for some people and probably could be a reason that some people would choose not to buy it. And I get it. If you're a person that has 30, 40 tabs open all the time, it's really annoying to see those tabs refresh when you go back to revisit them. For me, that only happened one time, but I'm usually between 12 and 15 tabs and a handful of other applications open. So maybe I'm not the best use case there, and your mileage may vary. And ASUS has said that we'll see 8 gig versions of this device down the road. We just don't know when. So right now, this is the version you can buy. And if you're looking at this Chromebook and thinking whether or not it's for you, remember, 4 gigs of RAM is all you get right now. And if that hasn't worked for you in the past, it's probably not going to work for you right now either. So with all that being said, the question always comes down to, should you buy this Chromebook? It's $569 right now, and that price can fluctuate a little bit here and there. But at MSRP, should you go buy it? I can confidently say that this is the best Chromebook experience you can get right now for under $600. And that's counting every Chromebook that we've reviewed on this channel and everything that I've come into contact with. There's just something a little bit nicer about the ASUS Chromebook Flip C434. It just feels a little more premium than everything else in this price bracket. And I think if you go spend your money on it, that you're going to feel like you put your money towards something that's a little bit more premium, a little bit nicer, and you're going to enjoy the overall experience of using this Chromebook. But guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully we helped you make a purchasing decision. If we did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below. And until next time, we'll see you.